There's a moment in many careers when effort stops translating into movement. You're still competent, still reliable, still improving, but your trajectory stays flat. That's not a motivation problem. It's a leverage problem. You're optimizing for the wrong variable. And if you don't change what you're optimizing for, you can stay productive for years without actually advancing. When progress slows, the natural reaction is simple. Work harder, learn more, refine your craft. That worked before. It may even still earn praise. But here's the asymmetry. Improving execution inside a structure doesn't change your position in it. You can increase output without increasing influence. That's the trap. Early in a career, value comes from solving defined problems. Later, value comes from shaping which problems are defined at all. The person who chooses constraints shapes the system more than the person who executes inside them. Selection. Choosing to build a feature at all often matters more than how elegantly it's built. That's leverage, not volume, not speed, not brilliance. Selection. Execution lives inside clarity. Leverage lives inside ambiguity. If you want your trajectory to change, you have to move closer to undefined work. Not chaotic work, undefined work. The kind where the problem isn't fully scoped. The trade-offs aren't obvious. The right path is debated. Ambiguity is where leadership attention lives. Most people avoid it because it feels uncomfortable. But shaping ambiguity builds positional power. Mid-level thinking is local. Leverage thinking is systemic. Start asking, why does this decision affect 3 other teams? What does short-term speed create 6 months from now? Which incentives are quietly shaping this outcome? When you widen your context window, you influence more of the board. Influence compounds differently than output. This is the most uncomfortable move. Sometimes you must produce slightly less to gain more strategic surface area. If every hour is spent executing, you leave no room to design. Execution makes you useful. Positioning makes you directional. And no one gets promoted for being the most exhausted person in the room. This is not about doing less work. It's about doing work that changes how future work is chosen. Meta work, constraint work, directional work. Execution is measurable. Judgment is not. Output is visible. Constraint selection is subtle. Organizations reward predictability. Ambiguity reduces predictability. So when you move upstream, you temporarily reduce certainty. That tension is normal. It's also the cost of leverage. Here's a test. If you disappeared for 2 weeks, would the system continue almost unchanged? If the answer is yes, you are operating inside structure. If the answer is no, it's because you shape decisions, constraints, or trade-offs. You've begun building leverage. But leverage is not being a single point of failure. It's not about making the system collapse without you. Leverage is shaping direction. Execution fills space. Judgment changes direction. There's a phase where you are no longer purely execution focused, but not yet fully trusted for judgment. Your output may dip slightly. Your influence hasn't fully materialized. But this is where many retreat. They return to what feels safe. But the messy middle is not regression. It's transition. Leverage compounds slowly. Then, all at once. Technical skill compounds early. Judgment compounds later. When you consistently frame better problems, clarify trade-offs, reduce systemic waste, improve decision quality, your influence grows. And influence changes trajectory more than incremental skill ever could. Leverage isn't given. It's built intentionally. If progress is slowed, the answer isn't more intensity. It's different positioning. Leverage doesn't come from doing more. It comes from shaping what gets done. That shift is uncomfortable. It is also available. This is Refactoring Work.